Danny Kruger.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and my thanks and congratulations to my right honourable friend, Member for Tatton, for bringing this important debate to the House. I just want to start by recognising what the government has done in this space. It's very positive developments. Particularly want to honour them for the outside-in approach to extending broadband coverage so that everywhere gets connected together, including the hardest to reach 20%. That's a really important principle. The government is not just seeking the sugar rush of investment in the productivity sweet spots of our country, but seeking long-term investment in the future of all of our communities. And I particularly congratulate the government on achieving the 40,000 vouchers that have been issued under the Rural Gigabit Broadband Voucher Scheme. 500,000 premises with gigabit broadband have been connected in the last year. So it's very positive developments. But as we've been hearing, Mr Deputy Speaker, more is needed for rural areas. The internet is actually the saviour of the countryside. If we want to get our towns and villages to prosper, that means more remote working, more start-ups, more young people staying in the countryside. Nothing matters more than this, as my right honourable friend said. And we know that 30% of rural firms experience unreliable broadband, which is twice the rate of firms in urban areas. So levelling up really means equalising the quality of broadband between rural and urban. And it is not just the deserts of Dorset we need to worry about, but the wastelands of Wiltshire, just as bad. And I urge the Minister to help us. But it's not just about geographies, Mr Deputy Speaker, it's about the people within our geographies as the internet, as coverage expands. Investment in digital infrastructure on its own is not enough. The fact is that on its own, that investment would widen inequalities and reduce social mobility. It would just be to further advantage the people with the capabilities to use that technology. So the question for us is how to address the digital divide as we build up our digital infrastructure. And the answer, Mr Deputy Speaker, is more social infrastructure. I'm very pleased that this concept is becoming more and more recognised. My right honourable friend, the Chancellor, talked in his spending review statement last week about the infrastructure of everyday life. These are the institutions and the services that bring people together and spread opportunity. And he particularly mentioned libraries when he talked about the Levelling Up Fund. The Good Things Foundation that we've heard about, and I pay tribute to them. They have a vision for the role of libraries as the digital hubs of our communities with a central focus on digital skills. So we do need this great digital catch-up, a great national mission to get as many of those 9 million people as want and need it to get online, working through trusted local organisations. And Good Things Foundation estimate that for 135 million we could halve the digital divide, get 4.5 million people online over 4 years at a cost of around £30 per person, the cost of a GP appointment. Think of the gains to well-being and prosperity that £30 a person will produce. But I want to finish with this. There's an even bigger prize, Mr Deputy Speaker, and that's to get big tech on the side of our local communities. Now, I know this is a stretch. Culturally, after all, big tech is the incarnation of the idea that you don't belong anywhere. And I regret to hear my honourable friend for Totnes celebrating the anywhere. It's very off message. Big tech incarnates the idea of the Californian-themed cyber universe. But it doesn't have to be that way. And I know that many of the big tech firms are thinking differently now, seeing how they can support local economic growth, focus less on the abstract global community of their users and more on the real-life local communities their users live in. So I hope we can open a conversation with some of the big tech firms to see what they can do to create what we might call digital social infrastructure, improve the wiring of the social economy. Crucially, we must not empower tech giants with access to community data for them to exploit commercially. Any new systems that are built must be non-proprietary, and value that is created from community data must be owned and used by communities themselves. But there is a good conversation to be had here, and I hope the government will do it. Thank you.